How can we get your dog to love his crate? Well, in this video, I'm going to walk through how you can do that yourselves. Hey guys, it's Stuart, dog lover, dog owner, now content creator. First and foremost, we want to make it a great place for your dog to be. And what I mean by that is, when Apollo was younger, we always used to give him a Kong, a frozen Kong in his crate. So this Kong could have some kibble with a bit of water and then some peanut butter on top, and then you put that in the freezer, let that chill out, and then once you want your puppy or your dog to go into the crate, boom. As long as he's in the crate, he can have this Kong. If they're not, you take it away. And with the Kong, you can be creative. You can put some yogurt in there instead, maybe some, I don't know, berries or something. But most of the time it was either peanut butter or yogurt for me with a bit of kibble and some water. And that would take him ages to go through. Why might your dog not like the crate? Well, pretty much it's not that they don't like the crate, but if they're learning how to be in this enclosed environment whilst everything else is happening around them outside, they'll learn behaviors for you to get them out. And what I mean by that is they'll learn how to whine, bark, cry. So then eventually they'll learn, okay, if I do one of these three or all of these three, someone's gonna let me out. That is what they learn, and if they get their way, they'll do that constantly. How do you get them out of this state? Well, I would recommend to make the crate the most enjoyable thing for your dog to be in. And that's giving them a Kong, giving them some treats. The other thing I would say and strongly suggest is not just to fling your dog into the crate and hope that they'll stay in there and love the crate. Think about it. The dog's never been in there, or if you have been trying to train it, something's gone wrong in the process. You might have given up, and then they don't want to go in there anymore. The other thing I'd say is training. Crate train, and take some time to crate train your dog. And we're going to walk through that in a bit. Don't forget to challenge your dog. And what I mean by that is, if they are whining and crying, ignore them. Don't say anything, don't do anything, leave them in there. That is one thing that sometimes dogs just won't get it. And the only way they'll get it is by tiring themselves out in that sense, and then realizing, oh, you know what? That nothing's gonna happen if I cry. Like, I'm not gonna get what I want. So, but then the other thing is, once they do relax and settle down, then you want to take them out and reward them, or give them some treats. So yeah, as I mentioned, you can ignore them. So ignore them until they carry out the desired behavior. And what the desired behavior is, them being relaxed. You can look for a lay. I think normally when dogs are now laid and relaxed, then you can give them a kibble, some treats, or even take them out. And then they'll realize, okay, all I have to do is be relaxed, calm, collected, and then I can get out. So how do you go about crate training your dog? So the first initial steps, if your dog has not seen a crate before, or if it doesn't like the crate, supposedly, you want to first start baby steps. So what I mean by that is throw some kibble, throw some treat into the crate, and let your dog go and get it. Let your dog go in and out, in and out, in and out, just like that. And then slowly but surely, you want to then, once you throw the kibble in there, you want to let them stay in there. So what I mean by that is, once they're in there, you want to maybe chuck some more in there, so then they stay in there a little bit longer. So once they're comfortable with that, let them stay in there under their own will, and feed them a treat if they do stay in there. It's all about the positive association with the crate. If they think that they're going to get something good out of it, they're going to do it. Once you've gotten past that initial stage of your dog is willing to go in there, obviously for a treat, then you want to slowly, when I'm saying slowly, very, very slowly, you want to close the crate door when they're in there for a couple of seconds. A couple of seconds, give a treat, open the door. And then slowly but surely, you want to start increasing the time that you close the door for and they stay in there. But you have to do it in small increments, and it will take some time. But at the beginning, most crate training won't require hours to do, and I wouldn't recommend you to do any sort of training for hours. Just do it slowly and slowly. And then pretty much the last thing is you want to just carry on extending it and supervising them as they're in there, obviously. But always reward them for the behavior that you want to be seeing. So that is laying down, relaxed, sleeping. Most of the times, once dogs are relaxed in their crate, they will fall asleep. And when Polo was younger, I actually used to, even working from home, I used to put him in the crate after we came back from a walk, and he'd sleep till midday. And then after midday, we'd go out for another walk. And at the beginning, I would put him back in there for a couple of hours, and he'd sleep. And then after a while, like now I can trust them to be out and about, like in the house. But that is one of the benefits about a crate. You know, they won't mess anything up. So what do you do when you want to leave them? So what I would recommend is, for the first initial times, you want to simulate a leaving exercise. What I mean by that is put them in the crate, simulate as you leave in the house, but you're not really, go to another room or go somewhere where they think you've left. And then do it for 5 minutes, come back, feed them a treat. Because ideally by then they would be used to the crate, quiet enough that if you leave them for a couple of minutes, then they'll give them a treat. Because then they realize, oh, actually, like it's actually not that bad. The second bit I do, and obviously as you go on, increase that time limit. When you're ready to leave them for the first time ever alone in the house, I'd recommend to put some music on, whether it be some soothing music, like something relaxing, because then they'll feel like, you know, there's stuff happening at home. As I mentioned previously, you also want to train it when you're at home. You'll have to be doing things. Have to be putting the laundry away, doing the washing, showering. You know, you're gonna have to be doing all of these things. You can't have the dog right next to you at all times. You're not gonna be able to watch them at all times. So what I recommend, when you're doing those activities, put them in the crate. And then, you know, as you're doing those activities, give him a treat when he's in there and he's behaving. So when they're learning, you don't want to forget to give them a treat for being good in the crate, because that will just build up their positive association with this crate. The result of all of this is that they'll be happy, they'll be rested, and ultimately you won't have any of your stuff messed up. What I mean is, like, your chair, your couch, your shoes, your socks, your stuff will be safe when the dog's in the crate. Finally, it's a practical exercise. When you want to take your dog traveling, they're going to have to go in the crate. If you want to take them abroad, they're going to have to go in the crate. If you want to go dog boarding, most of them, they have to go in the crate. So it's also a very practical thing for your dog to go and do, and have in its portfolio of things to do. There's all of these things where it's beneficial for your dog to be in a crate. And ultimately, dogs like a den. They like somewhere dark, an enclosed space. It gives them somewhere that they can feel safe as well. If you have a party or something going on in the house where your dog thinks, I need to get away from this, it's got its own space. I promise you, when I say this, most of the time, Apollo now goes in there on his own. The door is open all the time. And when we go to sleep, we still put him in the crate till this day. He's 2 years old, and we'll probably never stop put him in the crate. Every night, he'll go in the crate. That's it for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed that shorter video, bit more of advice. As told you guys, wanted to bring you guys some training videos. But yeah, leave a comment, subscribe, all of that jazz, and bye. So that's the main thing. When you're learning, or when they're learning, you don't want to forget to give them a treat for being a good boy. So when you're learning, you don't want to forget to give them a good treat